What do I, as a hair professional with 38 years experience, who sometimes works as a freelancer in research and development with some brands, think of the curly girl method? Let's get into it. Gulp. Hello and welcome to the world of Craig. Yes, that's me. I'm Craig and this is my channel where we get into all things hair and sometimes a little bit of beauty. The curly girl method. Well, first up, can we change the name to the curly human method? It is 2025 after all, and also it has a set of rules. Yeah, that's a problem for me as well. But very briefly, Lorraine Massey in 1999, that was a great year, launched a book that was called The Curly Girl Method, and it was how to care for curly hair. And there are quite a set of kind of quite rigid rules in there. I have done a lot of research to this video because I don't want to upset anybody. This is not a video about dissing Lorraine. Lorraine is clearly a very talented and experienced human being. She's had salons, she's developed, I think hair cutting techniques and her own product line, which we will look at. Well, we won't look at, but I will give you my feelings on that later on. There's going to be a lot of information in this video, and like I've already said, I don't want to upset anybody. If you love the curly girl method, it's hard for me to say that. If you love that, then that's brilliant. That's absolutely brilliant. But I'm making this video to look at the process and particularly the products that it suggests that you use or what you avoid in the rules. Yikes. Because I know a lot of people feel pressure, and I've even seen bullying online where people say, well, you've got curly hair, so you must do the curly girl. No, you must not. But it's all in this video. Before we get into the juicy bits or my thoughts, just a reminder that if you enjoy this video and find it helpful, you know exactly what to do. You liking this, sending it to a friend who might be interested in the content really means a lot to me because it helps to get my content out there. It helps us to build a community. Yes, you lovely folks watching this who are super important to me. I never thought when I started hairdressing nearly 40 years ago that I would have a channel with a community who are super supportive and supportive to each other. So thank you to all of you. But if you enjoy it, you know exactly what to do. So I've got my iPad. First of all, let's have a look at the method. Now, I don't script my videos, they're not scripted. I don't know how anybody could. It'd be very hard for me to, because I am just very authentically me. So it'd be tricky to read from a script or anyway. But I do have the listing. I have looked at Lorraine's content and the book online to see what the process was. And there are many versions of this. There are adulterated versions. There are people that have changed it and put it out there and said that it is the one that Lorraine. So, please don't come for me if you don't agree with this. I am just getting this from my research. So what to do? And I'm going to go through this quickly. Cleanse gently. Use a sulfate-free shampoo or a co-wash. We'll get into that in a second. I don't think you should be avoiding sulfates if you have curly hair. Condition deeply. Always follow cleansing with a silicone-free conditioner. Another point for me that is problematic, silicones are marvellous, especially amidamethicone, we'll get into that. Deep conditioners and hair masks are recommended for extra moisture, yes. Although the hair doesn't need moisture as such because their hair has a constant moisture level. So that's a bit of a misconception and a marketing thing. But the slip is good. Style with products, yes, I would always say that products are great for curly hair and all different sorts of curls as well, obviously we're talking about here. Apply styling products like gels or mousses to wet hair to define the curls and control frizz, definitely. Dry gently. Gently scrunch excess water out of your hair with a microfiber towel or an old t-shirt. I don't think you need to use an old t-shirt, just briefly. A microfiber towel would be good, a normal towel would be good, as long as you don't rub the hair. You don't want to distort the curl and the wave pattern. You want to keep everything very together and, whilst the water, the moisture, the excess water is coming out of the hair. Consider plopping. Place your wet hair in a t-shirt on top of your head to absorb excess water whilst protecting your curls. That's kind of what we just went through, but you don't need to use a t-shirt or a paper towel or a special towel or a towel that costs £40 or $50. You just need a towel. in my opinion. Just don't rub your hair. Detangle with care, definitely. Use your fingers or a wide tooth comb. Yeah, I think that's great. Don't brush your hair if it's naturally curly, wavy, kinky, coily. Protect while sleeping. Try pineappling. I love the sound of that. I wish I had hair so I could pineapple, which is a loose ponytail or a bun on top of your head or a bonnet. I think all of that is really good advice and good information. So, that's how you do it. What are my thoughts? Let's get a little bit controversial for a second. Lorraine is clearly a brilliant human being. She started a movement, and that is a big deal. But so that people could champion their kinky, curly, coily, textured, wavy hair. That's amazing. Big up to Lorraine. But that was in 1999 when the rules were put in place about what you could and couldn't use, okay? And we've come a long way. That's 26 years ago. We have amazing chemists. We have different ingredients. You know, a lot of the ingredients now in formulas weren't around back then. They really weren't, because I remember in hairdressing, we had quite a limited range. So, that is number one. Number two is, I've had a quick look at Lorraine's products and they are fantastic, but her products obviously are free of sulfates, they're free of silicones, and they use a lot of natural ingredients to give the hair slip and to help to define the curl. Excellent. But you may have a hair type, or you might just enjoy a product that uses the things that the rules say that you can't. And that's just a fact. You know, hair care is so personal, and I say that so many times, getting very serious and very emotive, because, you know, you might like something that someone else doesn't like, and that's why it's a problem for me when I see people that are effectively online bullying people with curly hair because they're using things that they don't agree with, okay? So you've got to keep all of that in mind, that we've come a long way. Let's look at the do's and don'ts. Yikes. So let's have a look at those product rules, crikey. But yeah, I must apologise, I am going to be looking at my iPad because I have quotes from Lorraine from her website, and I do not want to get them wrong, because when you're quoting someone, you must be correct. So first of all, sulfates. I have a video on this. You know, sodium lauryl sulfate and sulfates are not the devil, they're brilliant surfactants. I'll link that in the description, you can go and watch it after this. There's so much scaremongering. This is, and I quote, sulfates strip the hair and deprive it of moisture, making it look dry, dull, and unhealthy. That's just not true. It's not true. And sulfates and this is from Lorraine's website now, so obviously it's been updated over time, but you know, that's the marketing skew, and that's the curly girl method. That's the whole skew. And I'm not saying that that is wrong, but this information isn't really correct. You know, they don't strip the hair, because modern formulations of hair care, even at the drugstore at a lower price point, they have things in the products to offset the fact that the hair, you know, the hair might be, what's the right word for it, over cleansed by a sulfate. But generally speaking, sodium lauryl sulfate and sulfates don't strip the hair and deprive it of moisture. They're a surfactant, so basically what they do is they attract the dirt and the oil and take it away. Silicones, frequently used as a detangler, have a nasty side effect. They build up a film barrier along the hair cuticle, attracting dirt and preventing conditioners from penetrating the hair, further drying it out. That's just not true either. You know, things like amidamethicone, I've got my notes here, things like amidamethicone, that's an incredible form of silicone that is positively charged, lots of information, so that it sticks to the bits of the hair that are negatively charged. So if you have finer curly hair, and you find it goes fluffy and really fly away, then amidamethicone in a formula would be great. It's in lots of formulas now, because it is attracted to the bits of the hair that tend to go fluffy. You know, Do old-fashioned silicones that were in shampoos, would they have built up on the hair? Maybe a little bit, but there's that iconic video of someone scraping scissors down a hair and it looks like it's removing loads of goo. It's not goo at all. It's removing the cuticle. You know, that video is a lie. So, and if you are concerned about products building up on the hair, then the best thing to do would be to use something that's very clarifying, like the K18 Detox Shampoo, which is a clarifying shampoo that doesn't strip the hair at all in order to reset it. So I do think that clarifying shampoos are good, you know, detoxifying shampoos, but so are sulfates and so are silicones. It is also worth touching on, because it is part of the rules, brushes and combs, you know, I would use those very minimally. The more gentle you are with your curls, waves, kinks, coils, the better the drying result. And I do say to clients with curly hair, you know, when I'm talking to them about how they style their hair, you want to layer your products in the hair, whatever it is you're choosing to use. And I can't tell you specifically what would be perfect for you because I can't see you and everyone will be different. Check out my Come Shopping With Me playlist. But you would apply your product, work it through the hair with your hands, and then just let your hair air dry. Don't comb it through, brush it through, you know. So I totally agree with Lorraine, and I think that's a very smart bit of advice. Then secondly, heat. Heat styling any sort of curls or waves repeatedly over time can change the internal structure of the hair. There's a video about that here on my channel. It changes the hydrogen bonds inside the hair. Every time you apply heat, it changes it. And then when you put water on the hair, it changes it back, changes it with heat, changes it back, which can disrupt the curl wave pattern. So I also would avoid heat. If you want to smooth out your curls and waves every now and then, go for it. But if you are somebody that likes to wear their hair curly 90% of the time, then I would, you know, be very gentle with heat and use heat protectors, etc., to preserve the natural curl pattern. To conclude, if you use the curly girl, curly human method and you love it, then that's brilliant. And you know, I would love to hear from you if it's changed your hair. You know, Lorraine's a brilliant human being, so that would be great to hear from you in the comments. Please let me know. And on the flip side of that, if you've tried it and you didn't like it and you feel disheartened, you know, and you just feel that you can't get control of your curls, waves, kinks, coils, then, you know, I'd love to know what you're trying in order to make your hair the way you want it to be, because it's important that if you want to embrace it, that you get great results. I do have a video that is a curly hair, curly, kinky, coily, textured hair shop up here on my channel. It is in that Come Shopping With Me playlist with lots of other product suggestions. Some of those videos overlap as well, so there'll be things to give strength to curly hair, or there'll be things to smooth curly hair, or there'll be, you know, stuff to give volume to wavy hair. So there's lots and lots in there that you can go and check out once you've watched this video. I will pop it on the end slate that will come up as well after I say goodbye. If you've enjoyed this video and found it helpful, you know exactly what to do. You sharing this with someone means an awful lot to me because it helps us to build a community. And if you have got to the end of the video, a huge thank you. You'll take lots of care, and I'll see you all in the next one.